you will go out. You or me will go out there, put our hands up, and the car will zoom by you. And they've done studies on this. And a white person will come out and put their hands up, and 5 cars will pull over. What's that called?
That's called the ability to get a cab better than other people.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Well, no, give me another example of white privilege.
Okay. Columbia High School. Gifted and talented program. Predominantly white. All those kids deserve to be in there, right?
Yes, because they're all geniuses.
You want me to keep going?
Keep going.
No, I'm not going to keep going, but this is what we're going to do. Let's go to Jon Stewart talking to Bill O'Reilly about white privilege.
Okay, let me hear. Let me get another example.
How about
that? Right now, you can get a single line with 3 gigs.
My guest tonight, he's the host of The O'Reilly Factor on the Fox News program channel. His new book is called Killing Patton, The Strange Death of World War II's Most Audacious General. Please welcome back to our program, Mr. William O'Reilly. William! Hello, William. Have a seat. I'm glad, given the Ebola scare, you still are shaking my hand. I think that's a positive step. I know you're very frightened, and I just want to tell you everything's going to be okay. There you go, baby. Keep that going. That's settled down. The book is called Bill O'Reilly, Killing Patton. It's like the 8th. We're just going to call this series Killing Trees. They sell like crazy. It's wonderful.
You didn't read it, though, huh?
No, I did not read it. Listen to me. Here's all I want from you today. This is it. This is all we got to do in this conversation.
Okay.
I have one simple goal.
Yeah.
I want you to admit that there is such a thing as white privilege. That's all I want.
I knew you were going to.
That's all I want. That's it. Just a little. I just want you to say, I'm terribly, terribly wrong on this.
Okay, look, if there's white privilege, then there has to be Asian privilege.
What?
Because Asians make more money than whites.
What?
Oh, you didn't know any of this, huh?
Well, not in Vietnam. What kind of Asian? You have to...
Asian Americans.
Well, no.
Asian Americans.
Depends on where they're from, if you're looking at...
They're from Asia. They're Asian Americans.
I understand that,
Good.
but as a...
They make more money, higher education, more affluent. So it's Asian privilege, not white privilege.
You're missing the point.
Sorry to confuse you with facts.
You're not... It's not the... That's the... Okay, here we go. The Asian experience in America, the Asian immigrant experience, is very different from the black experience.
Yes.
So it's really... They're not equivalent. And either way, white people, males, set the system. So that's what privilege is that white people set the system that, yes, maybe Asian immigrants, once immigration policy was liberalized, have done better over these past 30 or 40 years. But there has been a systematized subjugation of the black community. Would you not agree with that?
Sure. That was then. This is now.
Oh, it's there was white privilege,
maybe,
but it no longer exists.
Maybe you haven't figured out that there is no more slavery, no more Jim Crow, all right?
All right.
And the most powerful man in the world
oh boy.
is...
Here we go.
A black American.
Oh boy.
And the most powerful woman in the world, Oprah Winfrey, is black. Okay?
Being able to give people a free car does not make you the most powerful woman in the world. But listen closely, because
mess with Oprah.
I see the issue here. You don't believe that the residual effect of, slavery and Jim Crow are dead, but the residual effects of that systemic subjugation exist today.
It absolutely exists today.
Let's go a different way.
It exists for every race, not at that extent, All right?
So that's white.
So you
boy.
don't put forth, all right, this white privilege, and if you fail, that's why you fail. All right, America is now a place where if you work hard, get educated, and an honest person, you can succeed. That's what should be put out there.
You are carrying
not all this other stuff.
You are carrying more of a burden as a black person in this country than a white person in this country. From
collectively, yes, but not
individually.
You listen.
They don't stop and
every
frisk Wall Street bankers,
is different.
even though they've done far more damage to the economy.
They don't stop and frisk.
White people, listen to me. White people do more drugs in this country than black people, but black people make up a far higher majority of drugs.
Do you know why that is?
Yes.
You do know why that is. Why is that?
Because black people, it's about real estate to some extent. There has been a systemic subjugation through real estate. Black people are ghettoized in this country.
They're forced to live there. They have to live there. Is that what you're telling me?
Oh, you're getting to a bad place, my friend. What made you culturally? Do you think your upbringing gave you values and ethics?
Yes, it did.
You didn't grow up rich, right?
No, we didn't.
But you worked hard.
Money at all?
Right.
I did.
You worked hard.
Right.
You lived where?
Levittown,
New York. So it gave you a nice, stable, a cheap home. There was no down payments. It was this incredible opportunity. No, those houses were
it was just lavish.
subsidized.
Yeah.
It wasn't lavish.
They weren't
stable.
subsidized.
But
they
it
were
was stable.
sold to GIs, and the GIs got a mortgage they could afford.
Okay.
Look,
well, let me just ask you a question.
You're making a huge mistake.
No. Let me just ask you a question.
Yes.
Did that upbringing leave a mark on you even today?
Of course. Every upbringing leaves a mark on other people.
Could black people live in Levittown?
Not at that time. They could not.
So that, my friend, is what we call in the business white privilege.
Okay. That was in That was in 1950, all right?
1950.
1950.
Were there black people living there in 1960?
In Levittown?
Yes.
I don't know.
There weren't.
How do you know?
Because I read up on it.
You read up. You don't know that.
I do know that.
I can find somebody.
My point is this. Even today...
Why would you want to live there? It's a nice place, but it's not a place like you... It's not like Bel Air.
Because it's a place that built values. What you don't understand is...
There were millions of black neighborhoods that built values.
But imagine
millions
growing up
of them.
knowing that you, as an American, as a GI who fought in World War II, couldn't buy into that because you were less.
It was unfair.
You were not fair.
It was unfair.
And the residue of that continues today, and that is white privilege.
It's all right. If you want to say it's white privilege
I'm not
because
saying
whites
it's
didn't have it as bad as blacks,
it exists.
Fine. But that's not
it.
what's happening here in contemporary society.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Oh.
If you let me repeat this, and I'll do it slowly.
All right.
So even you can understand.
All right.
If you work hard, if you get educated, if you're an honest person, you can make it in America.
If you live in a neighborhood where poverty is endemic, it's harder to work hard.
It's
harder to get an education.
Hey, it was harder for me than it was for the white guy in Garden City. It's all relative. Yes, it's harder if you're a ghetto kid. Yes. But can you do it? Yes.
Yes, you can. So what I don't understand is why so defensive about it? Why is it that white people get so defensive about this? I'm not saying that life isn't hard. Middle-class white guys that are working hard to do what they can, and they look and they go, I'm not getting any privilege. That's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is a group of people that were brought here. They didn't choose to immigrate here to get that better life. And just acknowledge that our country's had a problem with that, and we
acknowledge
can move
that who are fair-minded, but you don't then take that and then condemn the modern society because
you know what I'll call it? I'll call it this, and it's a word I think you'll understand: a factor. It's a factor.
It's a factor. I'll give you the factor.
Your humility has moved me. You are like Pope Francis that has taken the Catholic Church into an era of acceptance and humility. You, Bill O'Reilly, can lead the flock of the fox fearful to a better place. I believe in you.
So there you have it. Bill O'Reilly on Jon Stewart. Did you get anything out of that?
What do you think? Can a person become whatever they want. And in America, can people achieve whatever? Regardless
Some people
of their
with
color.
less obstacles than others. There are some of us that have more obstacles put in front of us than other people do.
Okay.
The road is easier for some people than others. The path is much easier. The path is much smoother. While for other people, the path is very bumpy, very rugged. You don't know what you're going to go around the corner and find. So it's every day you got to deal with something that you're unsure about, and other people don't have to worry about that. Not just the path, but your life in general. Because based on what's happening to other people, you, especially a person of black, male person of color, your life is not worth that much. And that's based on the things that are happening today.
You know, there were a couple of things that were brought up in that discussion. So his family moved to Levittown because of a GI Bill. Yes.
Right.
So the question is, were there places? One question, and I have an answer to the question actually.
So why are you asking the question?
Black GIs was there?
No, you're not allowed to move there. You couldn't move there.
No,
he said that.
Were there other places for them to move to? So, wait a minute. Now, I mean, but that's just one situation.
No, I don't get that though.
Okay,
I don't get that. So you were saying that, and you were saying that
I haven't said anything yet.
Of the United States of America is that you should be able to move to any place that you could afford.
Oh no, not in the 50s.
But it seemed like if you're not making an excuse for that, are you?
Oh no. I mean,
okay.
Because we had a discussion about real estate before, which made me delve into certain issues. And one of those was that the Department of Housing and Urban Development of the United States created the situation where black people and white people would not live together.
Really?
Yes, they did. They created that situation because they believed that black people would bring down
the United
value.
States Department of Housing?
The Department of Housing made that situation.
Really?
Yeah. And
you sure that? You have facts to back that up?
I can back that up, but I have to go re-look at where I found that. I would have to dig it up.
Okay. We need to discuss that sometime.
So they created a situation where, because the belief was black people would bring down housing, and eventually that was stopped by the federal government. But, you know, my parents, I have a picture of the original ad that offered housing to black GIs in the community that I was brought up in. And on the article, which is, I think I have a picture of it on my phone, and it says black vets, you know, move into these nice suburban homes. And so the community that I lived in was segregated, and it was all black, but it was just a housing development, not much different than Levittown, New York was, where all the houses were the same. And the more I drove around Michigan, I find these subdivisions everywhere. And there were subdivisions that looked exactly like the one I grew in that were all white. And the one I grew up in was all black. So the federal government, if you've got the GI, if it's a GI, say black vets, this is open for you. The federal government was definitely in on that. So yeah, they made it that way. They wanted to keep people separated. So to say, you know, could black people move in Levittown? No, but without saying that it was set up that way. It was originally set up that way. when they look at housing, and so there are areas like people always talk about how beautiful East Orange used to be and the oranges in Newark. So here you have immigrants who move in. They live in these communities. The communities are built. And then another set of immigrants, let's say the Italians leave and then the Jews come. And then after they leave, another group comes. And by the time we get there, the area has become a slum.
But